First story. Breaking down. I cheated in anger, ruined relationship. I am a wayward wife. My husband and I will have been married for a year in September and have been together for now 6 years. At the beginning of our relationship, I was in my senior year of college and he was in his career, 4 years older. I'm loud, outgoing, excitable, and he's quiet and reserved and prefers to be at home. But that's why we loved each other. We balance each other out. Throughout the years, there have always been moments of nervousness from him, being that I'm fairly social. There is an incident about 4 years ago, where a drunk man kissed me when I danced with his buddies, and I didn't want him to. I told my husband right away and wanted support. I didn't ask for that, but he assumed I wanted it. We eventually worked past that, and then about 2 years ago, one of my younger siblings' friends' fathers, sorry weird connection, made me super uncomfortable, started sitting close to me and request me sit on his lap at an event around my family, and putting his hand under my summer dress. I was scared and just put my hand on his leg to appease him, and my husband assumed I also wanted that. I didn't mean to invite the weird move from this older man. It was in front of my family and friends and we were drinking and nobody helped me. I may have encouraged something on accident, but I didn't mean to. I have stopped drinking also, until I can figure myself out at the least. But I may never drink again, who knows. I don't really care though. I understood how it came across, but I was scared of an older man being weird on me in front of my family. Well, we had all been drinking. We began going to MC2R and things have been going really, really well. A few weeks ago for my birthday, we went to dinner with friends and then to a karaoke place. I ran into a friend's brother at the bar when ordering drinks. We do community theater together. We hugged each other, holding hands, and I spoke to him for 5 to 7 minutes before walking away. By the time I turned around, my husband was gone. He sent me a message to make sure I could Uber home because he didn't want to see me keep flirting with some guy. We had been drinking and I was 45 minutes from home. A friend made me wait so she and her husband could come pick me up. He knew he was in the wrong, but I was so angry. We had a few days of tense discussions, but I couldn't get past how he always blames me and thinks I don't care for him, which leads to our event and D-Day. I had to go on a work trip a few days later and assumed space would help. Long story short, I was angry and had a few drinks with dinner with coworkers and I let a colleague kiss me. One thing led to another. We started to make out and gave each other oral, but no sex. We realized our mistake. He left, and I hated myself. I was mad at my husband, but in no way did what he did justify me getting even like this. Well, he found out from a text message that popped up on my iPad when we recharged it, and he's been staying at his parents' for a week. He's angry and broken, and I feel like the worst wife in the world. Also, funny enough, I didn't push him in. Our couples therapist we've been going to casually for the last 2 years recommended meeting after 2 weeks. He said he wants to do it then, so I'm purely following his lead. This is his journey, and I'm just here to support and show my growth when if I can. We have MC this Thursday to meet in person for the first time, but I'm breaking down. I can barely eat and I've lost 10 pounds. I can't sleep. I redid our entire bedroom to keep myself busy and to make it feel new for us if he comes home. I deleted all my social media, and I'm trying to meditate and journal. But all I can do is work, cry, go to IC 2 times a week, and cry more. I never ever wanted to be this person, and I feel like my body is eating me from the inside out. My family blames and is so disappointed in me that they've said things that made me cut them out. His family, whom I love more than anything, hates me, and I feel so alone. I hate myself for hurting him in a way Bobby deserves, but also I'm so ashamed of myself. I know. They are hurt and I get why. I'm just trying to find the strength to deal with my issues while saving my marriage. It's so hard, and I feel like I'm dying, but I just want him to heal no matter what, with or without me. I love him desperately and I just want to fix me for me, but for him. It's definitely gone through my mind. I have been talking through that with my therapist and it's becoming more and more obvious. I just hate that my daddy issues are coming through in a way that hurts my partner. Agreed to my therapist. I have stopped drinking completely for now. It's not like I need it. I just don't know why my brain does this when I drink. I don't want to be in dangerous situations for my health and his. But thank you really for the help. I appreciate it and it's heard and respected. Yeah, I was assaulted by an ex and a family member. I haven't spent much time unpacking it with my therapist, but I want to start to more. I really think it's why, but I also hate using that as an excuse because that doesn't justify anything. I want to focus on him, and I first and foremost and then unpack my daddy issues and sexual trauma in IC alone. All I want is my husband and all I want is to fix this, but I don't know how to keep myself afloat. Does anyone have advice? I know this isn't a massive emotional cheating or physical cheating over years or decades. It was all in anger and resentment. But now I have nothing in my heart for that. I want to deal with that once I've saved this reconciliation and helped my husband heal. Any hope I welcome with open arms. I know I do. I have a lot of things I haven't spent time working out that I'm letting ruin me and him. I genuinely appreciate this, and I need people to say this to me and make it serious in my head. I also have stopped drinking. I don't like myself on it or off of it and I want to change that. I let myself panic and not set boundaries and I need to set them. I also agree with tagging in my spouse. I don't do that enough and if he will have me back I agree. I will do that from now on no matter what. Seriously, thank you. I'm taking this all to heart. I just want to be better and I'm so thankful you took the time to add this note. But while I have never heard of fawning, I will spend more time looking into this because this feels like it's hit the nail on the head. I just get nervous it will come across like Ovrum Skirt is a SA survivor with bad coping mechanisms so you have to be nice to them, which is absolutely not it. I want to take responsibility and figure it out to fix myself at least a little bit. Second story. Me, 58M, wife, 57F, found out my loving wife cheated with my friend 29 years ago. How to proceed. My best mate, let's call him Adam, worked together for over 5 years. My wife and I had been married for 4 years before I met him. Adam's wife, let's call her Judy, became friends as a couple and we probably got together for drinks and barbecue about twice a month. We both had 2 children and the wife and Judy would phone each other and talk about the kids. Adam came around one day and told us he had caught Judy cheating on him and they were separating. Adam was in a depressed state and my wife and I showed support. A few months later, I came home from work and my wife told me that Adam was upset, so her and the kids went shopping with him to get him out of his house and help him. She told me every detail and it didn't bother me as they were friends and Adam needed to get out. Well, this happened 2 or 3 times over a couple of months and I was concerned about what they were discussing and thought it was inappropriate. And maybe Adam was trying to replace his family with mine. I rang Adam and told him that he cannot see my wife anymore without me being there and I didn't like him spending so much time with my wife and kids without me. I also explained that he should not put my wife in any situation that would cause a problem with my kids, wife and marriage. He swore that he understood and would do as I told him. I told my wife and she agreed that it was the best thing because she was feeling uncomfortable and didn't want to make waves. A few weeks later he moved and left his job. Truthfully, we never saw him again. At no stage did I think my wife had cheated on me, and though I wondered what happened to him over the years, life went on. This brings us to 13 days ago, 29 years later. I bumped into Adam and his new wife. He appeared very surprised. He introduced me to his wife and then told her that he wanted to catch up with me and sent her home. Adam started by apologizing what happened and he couldn't face me at the time. I told him I understood and it's water under the bridge. He said I was a bigger man than him because if he found out his wife had cheated he would act differently. My heart dropped. I then asked him to tell me the details as I never got them from my wife. He was under the impression that I knew all about it, which is why I told him to stay away. I didn't correct him but told him I wanted to hear his version. I felt so cold and my heart was beating hard, but I kept it together while he explained that it was a mistake. He had come over to my house twice when I was at work and cried on my wife's shoulder. She cuddled him and then led to kissing. The kids were having a nap, so Adam and my wife ended up having sex on the couch. He looked at me and swore it only happened twice. He saw the look on my face and said, "You didn't know, did you?" I told him no, I didn't. He just looked white and left. I went home and my wife was doing the dishes. I went into our bedroom and packed a bag. I went back downstairs, put the bag by the door. I went into the kitchen where my wife asked how was my day. I told her I bumped into Adam today and his new wife. She seemed surprised and asked how they are doing and what they are up to nowadays. I said they seemed to be fine, but we didn't talk about what they were up to. I told her Adam sent his wife away and gave me every detail on when you two fucked on our couch with the kids in the next room. She froze over the sink. I told her I will be back in about 2 weeks. She was crying softly and said where I was going. I told her I don't know yet, but I need space to think before we talk about what you did and what will happen now. She begged me to talk about it and started to hyperventilate. She rushed over and held me. I removed her from me and said I will be back in 2 weeks. She dropped to the floor crying and told me to stay. I left the house and drove to another state. I found a B&B and have been here for the last 2 weeks thinking. I turned my phone off and told no one where I was. I am now ready to go back home and talk to my wife to see if my mind will change about wanting to divorce her. Third story. Pregnant fiancé cheated on me. 8 years together. My fiancé 37F and I 45M had been going through a rough relationship. We were together for 8 years. In January of 2024, we started fighting and bickering a lot and decided to take a month-long break from January 28th to mid-March. We got back together after, and it was the best months of our whole relationship. We both agreed to a fresh start. Both explained that we were with no one. She couldn't say it without smiling though. Once we got back together, shortly after, I found a TikTok DM from her coworker. She had sent him a video, which basically was just a bunch of sexual puns, Netflix and chill, IMAX and climax, and stuff. So I asked her about it because I felt like it was inappropriate, and she reassured me that she had sent that to him so he could show his wife, because he asked her to send it to him. I don't feel good about it, but we move on. On June 27th, I discover messages in her recently deleted folder under the contact name Kayla. It was a convo that basically said, "Sorry I don't have time to see you this morning. I miss you so much. I love you," back and forth. I am furious and confront her, and she tells me that Kayla is her friend from Dallas that she just recently got back in contact with. She gaslights me and says that's just the way girls talk to each other and gets mad that I am freaking out. I demand she call the number so I can hear a woman pick up. She calls, and of course, there is no answer. So I continue to tell her to text them and try to get on the phone. We get into a fight because she says she doesn't want to bug her friend. It was late at night, and that she will try again tomorrow. The next day arrives, and I get off of work, come home, and she starts texting this number. Kayla's boyfriend responds, and they have a convo that basically equates to, Kayla is mad at my fiancé and will not be calling her. I go through her phone some more and see a voicemail from Kayla, and click on it, and it is a woman talking, saying she misses her and wants to come see her. I fall for it, and we go back to being normal. Well, last week, I got a gut feeling because I believed she was hiding something from me. I go through her phone while she is sleeping and download her TikTok data transcripts. I scroll through all the logs until I get to the DMs with her coworker. There, I discovered more messages that were deleted and not in her current DMs. I again confront her. I tell her I found the deleted messages on her phone, and she tries to snatch the phone out of my hand. I run to the bathroom and lock the door. She kicks the door over and over until she breaks the door. I tell her to tell me everything because I found stuff. She admits that during our break, she flirted with her coworker and kissed him a few times. I say, "Is that all?" She says, "Okay, maybe around 10 times." I find his name, and I find his wife on Facebook. I write out a message to tell her what happened, and I say, "If you don't tell me everything, I am going to message his wife." She swears that is all. I send the message, and the wife responds immediately. She confronts her sleeping husband, and he admits right away that they slept together in March one time and used a condom. Then for days of back and forth, it was just lies after lies from both of them while me and this dude's wife try to figure out what happened. He says they kissed only when they had sex, never held hands. My fiance says they held hands a lot, kissed around 10 times, never had sex. Every day it was more lies with a little bit more of the truth. She tells me that Kayla was him. She went to work the next day and came up with a plan with him to have a fake conversation to fool me. He sends her a voicemail of an audio recording of a woman to trick me, and it worked. His wife and kid leave him, he's still lying. My fiancé told so many lies that she was getting caught up in them and couldn't remember what she was saying. Now, 5 days later, she tells me everything. At least I think, because I believe her. She says that he gave her his number in January, and they started texting behind my back. We broke up in February, and that progressed things with them, and they had sex 4 times in March. They did it in front of work, and they drove to the building next to them during lunch. They did oral on each other once in March. Then we got back together, and they kept it going. She was texting him and me at the same time, telling both of us she loves us. Calling him when she got off work, and then deleting everything, coming home and waiting for me to get off work. She says she had sex one more time with him after we got back together and blew him one more time, both in April. They kissed again in May. They stopped communicating in June after I found the Kayla messages. So this went on from January to June, as far as I know. She sent him a naked photo and other pictures through email but does not remember when. She says the messages where he says "I love you" and she says it back meant nothing to her and that she did not love him. She says that she was depressed and suicidal, she has issues from childhood, and that I didn't understand, but he did because he felt the same way and he couldn't tell his wife. She says they would talk in his truck and stuff just happened in the moment. She is 16 weeks pregnant now, and I have already done a DNA test and am waiting for the results. She says there is a 0% chance it is his because they always used protection. She sounds like she is genuinely sorry and was going to tell me but was scared. I don't know if I believe her because this only came out because of how relentless I was because I felt like my body was telling me. This is nothing like her, and it makes me so sick that someone who is supposed to be my best friend could do something like this. I could forgive her for the stuff during he break, even though I am disappointed. But the stuff before and after? Would she really have told me the truth? Did she really love this man, or was it nothing like she says? If she says this happened because her depression, why keep it going when we get back together and are doing great? I have a million questions. Is this even worth trying to repair? I feel like a fool. I was so excited when I found out she was pregnant. I really wanted a child, mainly because I get to raise up a mini-me and her. But now after all of this, I just feel numb. We found out the gender a couple of days ago because we did a genetics test, and I felt nothing when she told me the gender. This whole experience went down the drain, and I wish there wasn't a baby involved because I think I would just leave. Fourth story. Is this considered cheating? Long post. So, I started talking to this guy I've been following. We both share the same interests and had a couple mutuals, and I liked his art so I followed him, but I never knew or talked to him for a long time. Last month he posted a song to his story, and I liked it and I was feeling kinda bold, and it was a cute photo of him. So I swiped up and just complimented his music taste, and the rest is history. Our conversations just flowed so easily, and before I knew it we were sending paragraphs so long on IG that we continuously hit the character count. Because of this, we decided to exchange numbers. And the conversation continued to flow. It just felt so natural and new and fun. He was not surface level with me at all. I learned a bit about his childhood, who he works, lives, his school, what he does for a living, his siblings. This man has told me his wants and fears. Even hinted a bit at some traumatic moments in his life. For respect of his privacy, I told him he didn't have to go into detail. And he's even told me about his cognitive disorder. Bottom line, in just a month I've learned so much about him. We also started sending voice memos recently, and he sent me like 10 back to back. We have so much in common, and so naturally I started to like him. Important to note, when we first moved from IG to phone, I did Google him and didn't find anything alarming, and so I was feeling really good. But fast forward to this last week, I got a little more curious and was kinda missing him, and he's a photographer so he doesn't post his face much. So I started going through his tagged. I came across his friends page and noticed his friend tagged 2 accounts. One of them I didn't recognize. So I click on it and it takes me to, lo and behold, his personal account. It was at this moment I knew he was hiding something after I realized he had 2 accounts, and I only knew of his art page. So at first I was like, okay, this is fine, and he had the same content on there except something was off. I went to his tagged on his personal ACC, and the most recent photo was of a girl. Now, he's a photographer so I didn't think anything of it, but then I saw that he commented my baby with a heart under it. And then, I also saw that she is on his reels where he is quite literally professing his undying love for her, saying he wants to spend the rest of his life with her. May I remind you, he has been talking to me non-stop, making plans with me although we live in different states, sending me music, liking my story, added me to his close friends, has been very vulnerable and emotional with me, showered me in compliments, and to me, he has not been moving like he has a girlfriend. To open up to me about so much and not bring her up at all is wild. Not to mention, he has never posted her on his art account. And one day, I got a little nosy and noticed he posted to his story on her personal ACC. And I watched it anonymously and it was a photo of her with a rather sweet message. Then, I saw that he posted something the same day on this art page, but it was of something completely different. I found it very odd. My question is, what should I do? I don't know if it's my place yet to say anything since we are kind of platonic, but also, I view this as cheating, and I feel really weird and horrible because I started to like him. And if the shoe was on the other foot and my man was talking non-stop to some girl he met online, I'd feel very played and disrespected. I don't know how to bring it up in a way that doesn't look like I've been snooping. And at first I really wasn't trying to, but something in my gut told me to check and I'm glad I did.